So here I am at Fort Mifflin, right outside of Philadelphia. It's an incredibly cool spot. It's right at the end of the main runway at Philadelphia International Airport. So you can kind of see the control tower there. But more importantly, it's on the banks of the Delaware River. Here I am in Pennsylvania. Right over there is New Jersey. And then right beyond those trees is the skyline of modern Philadelphia. Can't really see it, but I promise it's there. The reason this place is so significant to our country's history, it was built in 1771, and to this day is still one of the only British pre-Revolutionary War military sites that's still intact, and was very modern actually for the time at the American Revolution. But in 1777 it was in American hands. Unfortunately, the war was going pretty poorly for Washington and the army. They lost New York, lost a series of battles throughout New Jersey, and were retreating. Philadelphia, right over there, was the rebel capital. All of our founding fathers were there, and Continental Congress. So it was a very juicy thing for the British to try to take. They wanted to do the coup de grace to our revolution and defeat Washington and take our capital, put an end to the whole thing. Luckily, about 400 patriots from the surrounding area came out here to Fort Mifflin, and they wanted to meet the British Navy, head on. So they actually got together and to try to combat these ships coming up in the shallow water. Ben Franklin and a group of Philadelphia businessmen built these giant 20-foot by 40-foot boxes, sunk them with stones into the river, and put these long timber spikes on the ends with iron. And when the British ships sailing in this muddy water that was very shallow would come by, it would tear the bottom of their wooden boats out and sink them. So we actually got a couple British ships before the main action started. But in November of 1777, a British flotilla with all these warships came up the Delaware and started firing on Mifflin. For 5 days, thousands and thousands of rounds came into Mifflin, basically flattened the whole thing. And the important thing, though, is in Philadelphia, the leaders of the American Revolution were able to escape, and Washington's army was able to then go into Pennsylvania to Valley Forge, where he spent that horrific winter. But it's kind of the turning point in the Revolution for those of you who know your history. At the end of day 5, there were still 40 American patriots here holding out. They decided to burn the fort so the British couldn't make use of it, and they left. It's actually taken down now, but the Pennsylvania naval flag usually flies at that flagpole right there. But Mifflin was never taken or surrendered. The British couldn't really do anything with it, but they call it the fort that saved America. It's right on the end of the runway at Philadelphia Airport. If you don't believe me, there is an American Airlines plane right there. So if you're ever flying into Philadelphia, look for this fort right off the side of the runway. It is such a cool piece of American history. It's like $8 to get in here. It's worth every penny. It's in great shape, and I hope you guys have a great rest of your Sunday, and I hope you enjoyed this video and the story of Fort Mifflin. Thank you.